Welcome to the Executive Order channel, where we explain presidential executive orders in a simple, nonpartisan way. On February 19, 2025, President Donald Trump signed an executive order titled Ensuring Accountability for All Agencies, which grants the White House direct control over independent federal regulatory agencies. Some examples of independent federal regulatory agencies include the Federal Election Commission, Securities and Exchange Commission, Federal Trade Commission, and Federal Communications Commission, among many others. The order mandates that these agencies establish a dedicated communications liaison to the White House. It also requires that every agency submit draft regulations, strategic plans, and budget requests to the White House for review and approval, aiming to align their activities with the president's agenda. Let's take a look at the key sections of the executive order to get a deeper understanding of what new requirements it introduces. Section 1. Policy and Purpose. In Section 1 of the executive order, President Trump makes the argument that the Constitution vests all executive power in the president and charges him with faithfully executing the laws. Since it would be impossible for the president to single-handedly perform all the executive business of the federal government, the Constitution also provides for subordinate officers to assist the president in his executive duties. In the exercise of their often considerable authority, these executive branch officials remain subject to the president's ongoing supervision and control. The president, in turn, is regularly elected by and accountable to the American people. Trump continues to state that previous administrations have allowed independent regulatory agencies to operate with minimal presidential supervision. These regulatory agencies currently exercise substantial executive authority without sufficient accountability to the president, and through him, to the American people. Moreover, these regulatory agencies have been permitted to promulgate significant regulations without review by the president. Trump goes on to say that these practices undermine agencies' accountability to the American people and prevent a unified and coherent execution of federal law. He says that for the federal government to be truly accountable to the American people, officials who wield vast executive power must be supervised and controlled by the people's elected president. Section 2. Definitions. Section 2 contains key legal definitions of terms like employees and independent regulatory agency. For the purposes of this video, we will clarify terms as we go along. Section 3. Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs Review of Agency Regulations. In 1993, President Clinton signed Executive Order 1-866. This executive order is important to understand because it ensures that federal regulations are justified, cost-effective, and reviewed by the White House before being finalized. Every president since Clinton has modified or reaffirmed it to fit their policy goals. Therefore, Trump is not the first one to issue such an order requiring White House oversight. However, President Trump's version has some key differences. It amends the term agency to mean any authority of the United States that is an agency under 44 U.S.C. 35021 and shall also include the Federal Election Commission. It also specifically excludes the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System and the Federal Open Market Committee in its conduct of monetary policy. The order applies to the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System only in connection with its conduct and authorities directly related to its supervision and regulation of financial institutions. The order further directs the Director of the Office of Management and Budget to provide guidance to the heads of executive departments and agencies newly submitting regulatory actions. Submissions by independent regulatory agencies have to start within 60 days from the date of this order, or as soon as the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs gives its implementation guidance, whichever is sooner. We have more to cover, but if this video is giving you a better understanding of this executive order, please give us a like and comment below to share your thoughts. Now, let's learn more. Section 4. Performance Standards and Management Objectives. Section 4 requires the Director of OMB to establish performance standards and management objectives for independent agency heads and report periodically to the President on their performance and efficiency in attaining such standards and objectives. Section 5. Apportionments for independent regulatory agencies. The Director of OMB is required to perform two major tasks on an ongoing basis. First, they have to review independent regulatory agencies' obligations for consistency with the President's policies and priorities. And second, they have to consult with independent regulatory agency chairmen and adjust agency apportionments as necessary to advance the President's policies and priorities. Section 6. Additional consultation with the Executive Office of the President. Section 6 establishes several positions and communication channels between the White House and federal agencies. First, it requires all independent regulatory agency chairmen to regularly consult with and coordinate policies and priorities with the directors of OMB, the White House Domestic Policy Council, and the White House National Economic Council. Second, each agency is required to establish a GS-15 position of White House liaison. Third, the independent regulatory agency chairmen have to submit agency strategic plans to the director of OMB for clearance prior to finalization. Section 7. Rules of Conduct. Guiding federal employees' interpretation of the law. Section 7 of the Executive Order emphasizes the President's and the Attorney General's authority to provide definitive interpretations of the law for federal agencies in the executive branch. The President and the Attorney General's opinions on questions of law are controlling on all employees in the conduct of their official duties. No employee of the executive branch acting in their official capacity may advance an interpretation of the law as the position of the United States that contravenes the President or the Attorney General's opinion on a matter of law, including but not limited to the issuance of regulations, guidance, and positions advanced in litigation, unless authorized to do so by the President or in writing by the Attorney General. What do you think? Is this executive order a necessary move in order to provide consistency in government with the President's agenda? Or does it grant too much authority to the President of the United States? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and remember to be kind. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe to learn all about presidential executive orders.